So hello everyone, my name is Sofia Maurice Velasco. We are the Group 2 and our topic report for today is Korea, the Hermit Kingdom. So let's start. Korea is a small country but one so strategically situated that she has become a bone of contention among her more powerful neighbors. Little is known of her prehistoric past. Much of our present knowledge comes from the Chinese arrivals since the Han Dynasty which conquered Korea early in 108 BC. For centuries, the relationship between China and Korea history were most intimate. The first 600 years of the Christian era, however, was the in Korea history of internal strife among three strong rival states. This was followed by our countries of political unity which was again offset by the rise of continental neighbors more formidable than those of ancient times. Henceforth, Korea lost her earlier freedom and became the satellite of one foreign nation. The country repelled numerous foreign invasions despite domestic strife, in part due to its protected status in the Sino-centric regional political model during Korea Joseon's dynasty from 1392 to 1910. Historical antipathies to foreign influence earned Korea the title of Hermit Kingdom in the 19th century. So let's begin from location and topography. Korea is peninsula which extends southward from mainland of Eastern Asia. It's about 500 miles long and average about 150 miles width. It is separated from main China and Soviet Siberia in the north and northeast by the natural boundaries formed by the Yalu and Tumen rivers. In the Shanyan or River White Mountains, it is washed by the Sea of Japan and the west coast by the warm waters of the Yellow Sea. Korea has a total area of 83,226 square miles, which is about 3/4 as big as our territory. Shortly after World War II, two republics were established on Korea soil. The People's Republic of Korea or North Korea, which is about the 38th parallel and below the Republic of Korea or South Korea. North Korea is closely to the Communist bloc, particularly Red China, while South Korea is supported by Western powers. Korea location is strategic one for serves as a gateway to the Asia continent. She touches the borders of Chinese territory on the mainland while the narrow start of Korea separates her from Japan by her powerful neighbors and during most of her history. Her people had been subject for foreign domination for many centuries. The Chinese held sway in Korea using her as an eastern outpost of their empire.
Hello po, ako nga po pala si Franz Naran at ang topic po natin ngayon is the population and the people. So, the population of Republic of Korea as of 2010 is 48.63 million with a registered density of 590.5% per square kilometer. North Korea has a population of 22.75 million as of the same year. Before population growth was a serious problem in the Republic of Korea, leading to population growth but due successful family planning campaigns and change in attitudes of the people. Population growth was no longer a problem. There was a remarkable decrease of trade. Annual growth rate of South Korea is 0.25 and 0.30% for North Korea. Because of this, population structures got increasingly older. Because of low birth rate, the number of people of productive age or those who can already earn increased to 36,655,817 in 1999 from 33,872,000 in 1994. There are few children under the age of 24 and below as a result of population campaign. With regards to the factors which contribute to the somewhat increase of population was the migration of rural residents to cities resulting to heavy population concentration in the cities. People in the rural go to cities for better life. To remedy the imbalanced population, the Korean government prepared a long-term manpower development plan to encourage the people to go. The Korean people, along with the Chinese, Japanese, among others, are classified as Mongoloid, yellow race mark, which make up 30% of the world's population. It is about one-third of the total population.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. Today, I will tackle about the language and the climate of Korea. Language. The Korean are one ethnic family speaking one language. Linguistic and anthropological studies as well as legendary sources clearly distinguish Koreans from Chinese and the Japanese. So meaning, ang mga Chinese ay isang pamilyang etniko na nagsasalita lamang ng isang wika. Isa rin ito sa mga dahilan kung bakit nakilala ang mga Koreano mula sa Inchik at Hapon. And the Korean language is related to Japanese and Mongolian. Ang wika nila ay nauugnay sa Japanese at Mongolian. At ang sistemang pagsulat ng ponetiko na hangul ay naimbento noong ika-15 siglo ni Haring Sejong para magbigay ng isang pagsulat gamit ang hangul na halos exclusive nga lang sa mga character na Chinese na ginagamit sa paglinaw ng salita. And English is taught as a second language in most primary and secondary school. Chinese and Japanese are widely taught at secondary school. So meaning is yung English ay tinuturo sa kanila bilang pangalawang wika sa karamihan ng mga paaralang primary and secondary. And yung Chinese and Japanese ay mas malawak na tinuturo sa mga school ng secondary. And the climate. Korea enjoys temperature climate with 4 distinct seasons. And sabi dito ay sasabi na masaya yung mga Korean sa isang mapagtimping klima na may 4 na natatanging or yung sinasabi nating 4 seasons. And ang sabi din dito ay yung spring and autumn ay mas kaaya-aya para sa kanila dahil pleasant yung weather and magandang tignan yung langit dahil malinaw at asul ito. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Hello po, my name is Shana Malas, and for this video we're going to tackle about the beginning of Korean history. So the earliest beginning of Korean civilization consists more legend than facts. According to Korean legend, the Korean people are descendants of Prilakad, who descended from heaven in the northern part of Korean peninsula. This god transformed an earthly bear into a woman and married her. Their union produced a son named Tangun. So yung story po, it was the first story po of the Samgyukyusa, the memorabilia of Sri Kingdom, which was written in 13th century. So yung story po, nag-start po siya nung nag-ask po yung younger son ng King of Heaven na si Wang-on po na kung pwede po siya po yung mamahala ng land niya dito sa earth. And pinayagan naman po siya ng King of Heaven for the sake of humanity. And then one day po, may lumapit po kay Wang-on na tiger and a bear, babae po na bear. And hiling po nila na kung pwede po maging tao po sila. So pumayag naman po si Wang-on, pero po may dalawang condition. So yung first po, hindi po sila pwede lumabas ng cave for 100 days. And then yung second po, ang kakainin lang po nila is the mugwort and the 20 garlic balls. Tapos po yung tiger po, hindi po siya nakatiis kasi nagugutom na po siya, so lumabas po siya ng cave. And then yung babaeng bear po, nag-stay lang po siya doon. And for 21 days lang po, ginawa na po siya ang tao ni Wang E. So yung bear po, na naging tao, tuwang-tuwa po siya. And pero po, kahit po gano'n na masaya siya and grateful, na naging tao po siya, she felt lonely, you know. Siyempre po, mag-isa lang po siya. So, pumunta po siya ngayon sa sacred sandalwood tree on the peak of Mountain Taybak. Po si Tangun, nakilala din po bilang Damgun. Siya po yung nag-establish ng first kingdom named Chosun, meaning land of the morning calm. So next po yung story po ni Kishi, whom Korean tradition indicates as the founder of Korean state. Kishi was a Chinese noble in the service of the last emperor of the Shang dynasty. Kishi's kingdom embraced the northern part of Korea with Pyongyang as its capital. So si Kishi po and his followers, sila po yung nagdala po ng arts, industries, social and political institution of China. Sila din po yung nag-ayos ng government and sila din po yung nagturo ng inhabits better method of agriculture, home building, and worm raising. So yung Kishi's dynasty po lasted until 193 BC. Kijun, the last king, was overthrown by Chinese refugee. Riemann was a general in the service of the Chu dynasty who fled to Korea with thousands of his followers following the downfall of the Chu dynasty. Kijun welcomed Riemann as his commander of the western frontier. However, Riemann turned against his benefactor and seized the throne. Riemann founded a new dynasty which ruled for about 85 years. The dynasty fell in 108 BC when Emperor Wu Ti of the Han Dynasty of China invaded North Korea. So yun lang po. Thank you for listening. Kung may mga mali po sa sinabi ko, feel free to correct me po. Yun lang po. Thank you po and stay safe. God bless.
Good morning everyone. My topic is Period of Three Kingdoms. The Chinese occupation of the Korea did not last long when they withdrew their forces from the region. The three independent kingdoms arose in the peninsula. Goguryeo, founded in 35 BC, comprising North Korea. A part of modern Manchuria, Paekche, founded in 16 BC in the western part of the Korea as far as the Tailong River, and Silla, founded in 57 BC, comprising the eastern part of peninsula. About 650 AD, Goguryeo and Paekche combined forces in order to crush the growing power of Silla. The King Silla, who had always been friendly with China, appealed to the Chinese emperor for assistance. In a response to this appeal, the Chinese emperor dispatched a larger forces to northern Korea. Silla conquered Paekche in 660 AD. Goguryeo fell to the Chinese forces in 668 AD and its territory, what was ceded to the Chinese emperor. Wang Kun unites Korea. The chaos that followed the downfall of the Tang dynasty in 907 encouraged Wang Kun, a descendant of the ancient dynasty that ruled Goguryeo, to lead in the revolution in North Korea. After establishing his power in North Korea in 919 AD, he led his force against Silla in the north. 935 AD, Wang Kun had made himself master of entire peninsula, and for the first time in her history, Korea was united into a single nation. Wang Kun called his kingdom Koryu, from which the present name of the country is derived. He founded a dynasty which ruled over the peninsula for over 400 years. Wang Kun and his immediate successor were strong, capable, and wise rulers. Under their rule, Korea enjoyed a peaceful and brilliant period. A well-organized government was established and civil service examination system, patterned after that of China, was instituted. Buddhism became the established religion, and Buddhism temples and pagodas sprouted over the kingdom.
Good evening po. Tonight I'm going to tackle about the Korean culture. In the middle of 19th century Korea, the Hermit Kingdom was isolated from the rest of the world and unknown. Today the same title is something used to refer to North Korea, similarly reclusive. The Joseon or Yi dynasty, based at its capital in Seoul, had ruled Korea since 1392, despite a devastating invasion by the Japanese in 1592 to 1598 and another by the Manchus in 1627 to 1636, which resulted in the country remaining closely associated with China, culturally and politically. Into the late 19th century, the relationship with China confirmed the dominance of Confucian ideology, and contacts with foreigners and foreign travel were strictly forbidden.
Hello guys, this is my report. The invasion of Korea. The two Japanese invasion of Korea between 1592 and 1598 CE, or Common Era, otherwise known as the Imjin Wars. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the Japanese military leader, put into reality his long-held plan to invade China through Korea. The ambitious campaign got off to a brilliant start. Cities like Pyongyang and Seoul, but eventually the combined operation of the Korean Navy, led by Admiral Yi Sun-shin, a large land army of Ming China, and well organized by local rebels, resulted in a first invasion starting in 1593 Common Era. After protracted and unsuccessful peace talks, Hideyoshi launched a second much as successful invasion in 1597 Common Era, and when the warlord died the next year, the Japanese forces withdrew from the peninsula, one of the largest military operations ever undertaken in East Asia prior to the 20th century Common Era. The conflict would not only have devastating consequences for all concerned, but permanently sour relationship between Japan and Korea.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Kimber Ballesteros. This video is the continuation of our report titled Korea the Hermit Kingdom. My topic is about Japan invades Korea and the golden age of Confucianism. Japan invades Korea. Hideyoshi, the director of Japan announced dream of establishing a Great Wall Asian Empire. He asked help of Korean king in attack against Chinese, but he refused. 1592, he invaded Korea with an army about 300,000. Less than 3 weeks, they captured Seoul, the capital of Chuseon. Japanese won the initial victories on land. The Korean Navy was equipped with warships covered with iron plate. Admiral Yisan led the Japanese, their first naval defeat in history. Emperor sent Chinese army to help Korean in response to an appeal made by the Korean king. Burned the ground, crops were destroyed, and about 1 million Koreans perished. Hideyoshi's death in 1598 brought the war close. Japanese finally withdrew from Korea in 1600, leaving behind them the ashes and ruined civilization. Korea never recovered from the effect of Japanese invasion. In Korean hearts was planting a lasting mancho. It is the Chinese unsuccessful struggle. Korean shots it parts and turn it back on their nation. 250 years, Korean lived in isolation and became known as the Hermit Kingdom, the golden age of Confucianism. Joseon enjoyed generally able kings and competent administrating in 17th and 18th century. The court periodically witnessed functional struggle of Joseon. Recruitment based on a test of the Confucian classic. Elite scholar officials possess status, worth, and wealth. Confucian prejudice against business kept others from contesting the social position of the scholar officials.
External pressure. These advances were rejected by the Koreans. Korean government, however, attempted to stop the spread of Christianity. In 1568, Taiwan Gun, meaning Grand Prince, father of the boy, King Kojong, then faced military interventions by France in 1866 and the United States 1871, which were repulsed. The political reactions triggered by these reforms, however, resulted in his downfall in 1873. In 1876, the Japanese forced Korea to establish diplomatic relations in order to begin trade between the countries, thus weakening Korea's traditional ties to China, Korea, U.S. Treaty of 1882 foreign powers. In 1895, Japan defeated China in the Sino-Japanese War. These victories cemented Japan's power on the Korea Peninsula. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Wilma Divinersha. My report is all about the Japanese rule 1910 to 1945. Japanese is the domination of Korea formally began with the Protectorate Treaty 1905 forced on Korea after the Russo-Japanese War. Na ang dominasyon ng Korea na formal na nagsimula sa Protectorate Treaty in 1905. Under this treaty, Japan assumed control of Korea foreign relations and ultimately its police and military, currency and banking, communication, and all other vital functions. In 1910, Japan formally annexed Korea when it realized would not accept nominal sovereignty with actual Japanese control. Na formal na isinama ng Japan ang Korea na napagtanto na hindi tatanggapin ng nominal na soberanya na may aktwal na pagkontrol ng mga Hapon. From 1910 to 1919, Japan solidified its rule by purging nationalists, gaining control of the land system, and enforcing rigid administrative changes. In 1919, measures the general demand for nationalists for national self-determination following World War I, 1914 to 1918, led to what known as the March First movement. Millions of Koreans took to the streets in nonviolent demonstration for independence. But the movement was quickly suppressed. In following years, Japan tightened its control, suppressing other nationalist movements. Japanese imperialist government became more militaristic and eventually went to war in China, and then the Pacific and Southeast Asia in 1930s and 1940s. And last is Japan imposed several measures designed to assimilate the Korean family names. Korea was liberated from the Japanese by the Allied victory that ended World War II in 1945. Na ang Japan ay nagpataw ng maraming hakbang na idinisenyo upang ma-assimilate ang pangalan ng pamilya ng Korea, na pinalaya ng Korea mula sa mga Hapones sa pamamagitan ng kaalyadong tagumpay na nagtapos sa World War II noong 1945. That's all. Hope you understand my report. Thank you.